everybody. Welcome to the BrownieKnits podcast. After a very long hiatus, I am back. So I hope that you all are doing well. Thanks for checking out this episode. If you are a returning viewer from years ago, or if you're a new viewer, welcome. So I'm Gina, also known as BrownieKnits on most social media accounts and also in Ravelry, and that is the name that I design under as well. And yeah, I gave something away there. So I had taken a little bit of time off from designing and the knit world while I was battling my neck cancer. So I'm feeling pretty well now after a very long recovery. And I don't want to get into all that medical stuff, but I'm back. So I am actually starting to design again. So I thought I would pop up here in a video and give you guys little sneak peeks at a few new designs and then something that I've been working on. And of course, Lorelei and I are here. It's December 2019. I don't know what the date is. Middle of December. And actually it's the 18th because I have book club tonight. So we are here snuggled in our sweaters. It's really, really cold today. I think it's the coldest day we've had this winter just yet. So everybody in the house is in a sweater. So let's say hi to Lorelei. So this is little Lorelei, and I think she's only been in maybe one other episode of the podcast, and she was a puppy then. So she is almost 2.5. She's a Cavachon. She's half Cavalier King Charles Spaniel and half Bichon Frise. And she's super, super cute, super cuddly, super smart. And she loves her sweaters. So this is a sweater I made for her a few years ago. When you go to take sweaters or her collar off or anything like that, she freaks out until you put something back on her. But anyway, this sweater I made, I don't know, a year or two ago, probably a year ago, I think. And it is knit out of Turtlepurl yarns. If you are someone who used to watch the podcast, you know that they are one of my favorite yarn companies. And it's in the Trenchcoat colorway. And then I also had the red heel and toe yarn to go with it. So I used that on her collar and her little bell bottom of her dress here. The pattern, I'm not going to get into what I use as the pattern other than to say I used a pattern that was for much larger dogs. She's pretty tiny. Her breed is typically like anywhere from 12 to 18 pounds, depending on how much of one breed or the other they have in them. She's super small. She's just under 8 pounds, which is perfect for cuddling and carrying around. She goes most places with us, especially in the warmer months. But for the pattern in the sweater, I had the general construction from a pattern that was in a book, and then I had to adjust all of the stitch counts and stuff. So it really wouldn't do me any good to share that with you guys. But you know, I used to knit for the Yorkies as well, and as little as they were very broad across their chest area. So any of the knitted dog patterns that I did use, I always had to change for them too. So I find that anytime you're knitting for an animal, just like for us, you can have to tailor it to how they're sized. So for instance, Lorelei, although she's tiny, she's kind of a little bit longer. So she's not that much bigger, like she's not bigger actually than Kennedy, but she's longer than Kennedy was. So Kennedy just had her little Buddha belly all crunched in there in a smaller space, and Lorelei's is more spread out. But anyway, Lorelei has brought a lot of joy to our lives, and hopefully she will yours too. And if you follow me on my Instagram account, which is BrownieKnits, you can see videos and loads of photos of her there, and she likes to do tricks and stuff like that. So, but anyway, that was the first knit. And then I'm wearing, and oh goodness, I am out of practice. I didn't do any notes for this. I thought I would just wing it. It's a highly recognizable sweater, and I will put the name in the show notes, but you guys all know it, right? Everybody made one last year, a year ago, 2 years ago. And I used, the blue that I used was a gift from Hannah, and it is Wollmeise. Welcome back to my horrible Midwest pronunciation of things. So who knows how you actually say it. Just repeating how I've heard it on other podcasts. So that's what is the main color of blue. And then my contrast I used, it's a speckled, and I believe looks like hedgehog, doesn't it? But I'm not positive. Again, I'll put it in the show notes. All right. The one other thing that is not my pattern that I thought I'd show in this episode is something that I made this summer, and I love more than sweaters, more than almost anything. I just like to make things for the house that are cozy and snuggly, and that usually ends up being a blanket or Afghan. But I don't know, I get tired of making sweaters. Does that make me a bad knitter? And I knit socks for so long that now I have it's embarrassing. I can't even close my sock drawers properly without squishing them all down. And I have so much sock yarn that I still want to knit into socks. So anyway, I find that making things for the home makes me feel a little less guilty for whatever reason. And so this summer, I had been eyeing this pattern for a long time. And I decided that if I was going to get it done in time for the holidays, that I would crochet the Peppermint Afghan this summer, so that I had it now to just display. So this is crocheted. It is the Peppermint Afghan from Red Heart, I believe, and it's just a free pattern. I used Malabrigo Rios as my yarn, and I used Au Natural, and then I believe the red is Ravelry red. And it has, you can't really see how close I can get. Yeah, you can see a little bit. It has some highs and lows in the red. It's not just a solid red. It's a beautiful, beautiful red. It's reading a little bit darker, at least on my phone screen, than it is in person. It's really beautiful. I'm not a huge, as I sit and look at my Christmas tree over here and see those colors, I'm not a huge, super bright green, bright red Christmas color person. I like the more rich and deeper colors of red. And so that's why I went with this one versus a more Christmassy red. But it was a lot of fun to make. I highly suggest, there are videos uploaded by the pattern company that explain how to do everything. And I worked pretty much just from the videos and just used the pattern as a guide for how many of each motif and where to place them. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. And so it's really nice having that in my, as my friend Cindy calls it, my Christmas room, where I have my my tree, and everything in my house downstairs for the most part is has a lot of red in it, so it's kind of just flows for Christmas. So yeah, it's fun. Okay, so now I'm going to get into some designs that I've been doing, and these will both come out in January, so we're only a few weeks ahead. So I decided to go ahead and give you guys the looks ahead of time. But I also wanted to talk about the year-long knit-along that some of my designs will be supporting. So, like I mentioned before, if you couldn't tell from her name, my little Lorelei, I'm a huge Gilmore Girls fan. So Lorelei actually is Lorelei Gilmore Knaus. So her first and middle name. And I just love the Gilmore Girls, and I decided that I wanted to do something Gilmore Girls related in terms of designs, but I wanted to keep them free because, you know, it's not my intellectual property that Amy so graciously developed for all of us and entertains us with. So they'll always be free. And so what I'm going to do is on the first of each month throughout 2020, fingers crossed that this works out, I will release a cloth pattern. So we'll have a Gilmore Girls knit along that's a cloth club. And if you look on my Instagram account, which is BrownieKnits, or if you go to the BrownieKnits Ravelry group, you can find all the details there. But basically on the first of the month, I'll release a free pattern, and it will be some kind of washcloth or dishcloth, maybe a few tea towels, things like that. They're all out of dishcloth cotton. I used, for the majority of them, I've used like a Lily Sugar and Cream cotton, but you could definitely use any of the other cotton, dishcloth cottons that are out on the market. I know Knitpex has a nice one that I like. I'm sure there are others. I'm just like totally blanking them. But anyway, so that's what I used. And those are pretty much, I think almost all of them are like a worsted weight. So for the majority of the patterns, you need like a 7 or size 7, US 7 or US 8 knitting needle. And you can do them on straights or circulars. And I try to do the patterns in both written and charted form, so that if you were someone who is more comfortable with one way than the other, you were covered. And then I started us off kind of easy for January because I figured we'd all be exhausted from all the holiday and end of year hubbub and just want something that was quick, easy, relaxing. And each month they will have some kind of Gilmore Girls themed tie to them. And some of the months they will like hit you over the head that it's Gilmore Girls. Some of the months, if somebody walked into your house and saw the cloth laying there, they would not have to even know that it was connected to a TV show at all. It would stand on its own. Yeah, so, okay. All of a sudden I'm nervous. I don't know why. Anyway, so for the very first month, so January 2020, we have the I Smell Snow dishcloth. So this one, of course, Lorelei that's one of her most famous quotes that she says, I smell snow. So don't let the words scare you, especially if you're a new knitter. So this is actually knitted with just knits and purls to give you your edging, your center, and your snowflake. And then you duplicate stitch on the letters, which is just a long cut piece of your thread, or your yarn, sorry, and your tapestry needle, and you just go in over your existing stitches and form the words. And there's a chart provided for you to do that. It's super, super easy. So don't be scared of it if you're a new knitter. And if you're a really experienced knitter and you are comfortable doing some intarsia and stranded work, then you can do that instead. Totally up to you. I personally despise intarsia. So I don't mind stranded knitting, but I don't like to do intarsia. So I did this as duplicate stitch. So you can do it plain, or you can do it holding it with a cross stitch thread. So see that gold in there? It's a metallic gold. What I did, I went to the craft store and I got a skein of their metallic gold cross stitch thread, and it's in the little bitty hanks. It was a DMC. The color will be in, I'll put that in online so you can pre-shop if you want. And I did not, you know, in cross stitch you pull the threads apart and then you stitch with like usually 2 held together. I had all 6 I kept together and just held all 6 along with my worsted weight yarn and knitted it that way. And it gives you this nice, fun glitter for the snow, which is what I liked and had in mind when I did it. But it also gives you this like scrubbiness. So if you were planning to use this to scrub dishes or to maybe exfoliate your skin, you definitely get that with the metallic. I also feel like, well, I don't know, maybe on the screen you can tell. I don't know. I felt like it made the snowflake pop a little bit more too. But I like them both. And yeah, so on the 1st of January, that will come out, and you can just download the free pattern from Ravelry. You can also download them directly from BrownieKnits.com. But anytime you shop through BrownieKnits.com, it's using the Ravelry cart. So it's totally up to you, whatever you're more comfortable with. And yeah, I hope you guys like it. I hope you enjoy it. This one uses 1 skein of white from Lily Sugar and Cream Cotton and 1 skein in light blue. And then I would get 2 of the DMC cross stitch metallic thread. Now it's not like, I want to stress this, it's not a metallic thread on a spool, like a sewing spool. It's not that. It's the actual cross stitch skein, however, wherever you are in the world, however you pronounce it. And yeah, so I used 2 of those, and I did have some left over, but just to be safe. And as you can see, you don't use that much of your light blue, so you could also reverse it if you wanted to, but you can also save your extras because we do use, light blue comes up a lot in Stars Hollow, so we do use this blue again later for a different month, and maybe more than 1 month. So yeah, I hope you join us, and the Instagram tag I'll list in the show notes, but it'll also be listed on in Ravelry on my BrownieKnits group, and then on Instagram and my BrownieKnits Facebook page. There's also a logo that is like a little teacup that has the name of the club on it, so that you can use that on your pages too if you would prefer. So that'll come out on January 1, and then like I said, I've been designing quite a bit since I started feeling a bit better and decided to relaunch BrownieKnits. And so on January 15th, I will have a new pattern out for sale on Ravelry and BrownieKnits.com. And like I said earlier, I've been enjoying knitting for my home. And so this is the Hawthorne Pillow. And it's all knit. Here's the front side. Here's the back side. And it does have cables, so there is some of that. So I would classify it as an intermediate pattern. Don't let this large cable in the center scare you off. It's not as difficult as you might think. And the side ones are super easy. You just have to keep track of what row you're on. So it's a fun pillow. I feel like it just, it says cozy up and cuddle on me. Lorelei does that a lot because this one stays downstairs and she loves that. And this one is knitted out of 3 skeins of Malabrigo Rios in Au Natural. Do you remember that coming up earlier? So I had leftovers from my Peppermint Afghan and decided to play around one day. And I don't know why, but I had like a pillow form in the closet. And I thought, okay, I'm going to just make a pillow. And it turned into the Hawthorne Pillow. And it's, yeah, that's how it came to be. And then in the midst of that, we were redesigning my husband's office. And we decided to go with like a blue on the walls and white bookshelves and stuff. And we added in a white twin bed in there. And the comforter and stuff are white, but he wanted a blue throw blanket Afghan, and I decided to make him a blue pillow as well. So here is the Hawthorne Pillow in a blue color, and this is also Malabrigo Rios, 3 skeins, and this is the color in Denim. And I love how it looks in the blue as well. And the nice thing about this pillow, there is a up and down, but once you make it, you can, however, it looks great no matter what direction. And again, the back is all garter, so it's just kind of nice and squishy and comfy. The pillow form itself is 18 inches by 18 inches. Yeah, I'm not going to say you could change it to different sizes because it's written for 18 by 18, and it's one pattern. I'm not going to do a zillion of them. So yeah, so I hope that you guys like the new designs and make some Hawthorne pillows, and maybe make a Gilmore Girls I Smell Snow cloth, and join in the group. I'm also on the BrownieKnits Ravelry page going to put up a thread for books, because I've gotten seriously back into reading again. For so long when I was working in the corporate world, and then once I wasn't doing that and was doing BrownieKnits, and I was tech editing and doing all this stuff, and then I got sick, so books kind of fell further and further away from me, and that just broke my heart, because reading has always been my first love. I had a great aunt who used to say she didn't know what my face looked like unless it had a book attached to my nose. So and it led me into publishing, where I met my husband and some of my dearest friends, and so yeah, I really wanted to get back to that. And so in 2019, right now I'm reading books, I think it's 62 and 63 for the year. So I really got back into reading, and I just thought it would be fun for us to have that as a thread in the BrownieKnits Ravelry group. And sometimes I might share here toward the end of the podcast like what I've also been reading. Right now I'm in the middle of A Nearly Normal Family, which is really good. And then I'm also reading Mycroft Holmes, which is a Mycroft Holmes, Sherlock Holmes based mystery written by Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, which is really fun. And it's enjoyable. I'm enjoying both of those books. Tonight I have book club, and we read The Chelsea Girls by Fiona Davis, I think is her last name. Yeah, I expected to like that one more, but it was okay. But I expected to like it more. So, but anyway, and I'm also on Goodreads under my, not under BrownieKnits, under Gina Knaus. If you are on Goodreads and want to follow along on books there. And I like to look at what other people are reading, so I know what else to add to my bookshelves. So, all right. Well, I just wanted to pop in, put up this quick podcast, say hi, say I've missed you guys, and let you know about some of the upcoming stuff. So I don't know that I'll podcast. I definitely won't podcast every week or every other week. I'll probably maybe podcast once a month is probably more like it. Pop in, show you guys what the new 2 new designs for the upcoming month are, and that way you can know what to shop for and that kind of stuff, and give you like a little Lorelei sighting. Let's see if she'll do any tricks for me. Will you give me a high five? Good girl. Will you give me a fist bump? Good girl. Will you wave bye? Say goodbye. Wave. Yeah, there. Yeah, you got a few waves. And like any good dog, she has like food stuck to her beard. So, all right, from Lorelei and I hope that you have a fun, safe, happy into your 2019. And if you're celebrating any holidays, happy holidays. And we'll see you back in 2020. All right. Happy knitting. Bye-bye.